Hi everyone, it's PK here. Hey, I've had about 7 people reach out to me in the last few days talking about high yielding property, and I just thought I'd make a few comments to help everyone, and even those who haven't reached out to me about high yielding property. Now the thing is, a lot of people buy high yielding property, let's say a property with 6% yield or 7% yield, and they think that that yield will allow them to buy more and more property, right? As if the bank takes yield into consideration when it decides to give more and more loans. That's simply not the case, right? A bank doesn't view a 7% yield, a 8% yield, a 9% yield, a 10% yield as adding to your income, even though it may in fact add into your income. So that's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider as well is, let's say you find a property with 6% yield or 7% yield, whatever the case may be. That property pre-tax is only giving you about $3,000 per annum, right? And that's taking into consideration very, very low maintenance costs. Sometimes these properties are in areas where lower socioeconomic demographic sits, so you have higher tenancy turnover and vacancy rate. But even if everything goes well, it's giving you about $3,000 of passive income a year, and people get really happy about that, and it is good. It's not a bad thing, definitely not. But the thing is, how many of those properties would you need to be able to supplement your income, to be able to not have to work again? Now, I don't want to be a spruiker and say, property can allow you to give up your job in 5 years' time, buy and hold. You can't, right? It's a fact. But how many of a 6% properties, 6% income type properties would you need to retire? Each giving you $3,000, you'd need a lot, like 20 or 30, and that's not going to happen, right? That's just not going to happen. So then what you need to consider is that 6% property, is it going to rise in value? And the fact is that almost all cases, a property that's yielding 6% is yielding 6% because it's in a type of area with a type of demographic that allows it to give that yield, but it puts a lid on the capital growth. Let's talk about Logan. So Logan, great area. I mean, not great area, but a good area. It's in Brisbane, where I'm from as well. A lot of people have been buying in Logan for about 7 or 8 years. A lot of buyers agents have been putting their clients into Logan. Nothing wrong with that. But the fact is that in the last 6 or 7 years, Logan has had about this much capital growth. Okay, Logan Shire, Logan Central, Logan Lee, Kingston, Woodridge, all of these places have had basically no capital growth. And every time, still to this day, when people buy a property in Logan and it's given 5% or 6% yield, they're high-fiving each other. But I'm just scratching my head as to why that is. And the reason why it's not good to high-five based on that is, sure, it's giving you $2,000, $3,000 of income every year, but that's basically where that stops. So you've spent $300,000, $400,000 for $3,000 return every year. After 10 years, let's say that's $30,000. It doesn't add up for me, right? You'd rather put that money, take it away from property investment, put it in a listed investment company and get 7 to 9% dividends. It doesn't stack up for me. So that's just the point that I want to make today, and we'll talk about it another time later. High yielding properties aren't the bee's knees of property investing. Capital growth is where wealth is generated in the short term and in the long term. You need yield to hold those properties so it doesn't affect your lifestyle, but you don't need 6% yield. Okay? Talk to you again, guys. See ya. How do I turn this off? Finish.